What's going on, Panthers Nation? This is Aaron Duncan here, back again with the Panthers video brought to you by Necessary Bluntness Sports Talk. And today we're going over some of the Panthers news and headlines that have come out about the team this week. You know, with the Panthers, is always something on a daily basis. And even though our season is pretty much done when it comes to the playoffs and any kind of contention there's always something going on in this, I don't even know what to call it, ish storm. I don't want to excuse my French, but whatever you want to call it, clown show of a franchise that the Panthers are right now. So we're going to talk about some of the top headlines that's come out today. Before we get into that, you guys make sure you guys are subscribed down below because, like I said, this is a Necessary Bluntness Sports Talk. I do recap and analysis of the Carolina Panthers, including film breakdowns on a weekly basis, news and updates just like this, live streams, podcasts, and in the offseason, they got a lot of fun stuff coming up. So make sure you guys are subscribed and hit the bell icon below. That way you get a notification for all. Set it to all. That way you don't miss the thing, because sometimes YouTube just be player hating and all that, and they don't always send out notifications to the subscribers. So if you don't want to miss anything about all this craziness that's going on with the Panthers and me keeping you updated on that, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell icon. And also give this video a thumbs up because it really helps me out in the algorithm. Doesn't cost you a thing. And it goes a long way in letting YouTube know that this is a good video and it's engaging. So make sure you guys do that. Now, the first piece of news we're going to talk about is possibly the swan song and final home game for Cam Newton at Bank of America Stadium. Now, we don't know what the future holds for Cam. We know going forward, well, I guess starting out, when he talked about coming here and reuniting with the Panthers, they wanted a multi-year deal. And they said, let's go ahead and get this thing done and go from there. Cam is going to have a chance to prove it, especially while Sam Darnold was out. It hasn't really gone according to plan. So we're not really sure if Cam Newton will return next year or not, because Sam Darnold is still under contract, and I feel like they have some sort of obligation to him because they're going to have to pay him regardless. It's just a matter of if he's on the team or not. They would love probably to use Cam as a bridge quarterback, maybe with the better offensive line, and use that year to build the offensive line and then get the quarterback of the future the following year. That's what it makes sense to me. It may not make sense to them after what we've been seeing from Cam, because even with the change of the offensive coordinator, new quarterback, things like that, nothing has changed. I mean, the offense has been worse at that. So we don't know. But Cam had a pretty reflective post-game conferences, reminiscing on some of the players that's impacted his life and how the city of Charlotte has been so kind to him, and just talking about some of the guys he's crossed paths with, like Josh Norman, Greg Olsen, Thomas Davis, Peppers, Kuechly, of course, Jordan Gross, guys like that. And it sounded like he was pretty much laying it down, even though there's still games left. But the reports are saying that Sam Darnold being back from injury, he's expected to get the nod for most of the reps just so they can fully evaluate. Now, whether the team's trying to evaluate him for the future or they're trying to put some good film for Sam Darnold out there so they could possibly trade him, I don't know. But regardless, the politics and the gameplay, nothing has been done by Cam Newton to pretty much close the door completely on Sam Darnold. So here we are. So that's unfortunate. But it's hard, man. The end of an era, it almost feels like. I have so many good memories of Cam Newton playing for the Carolina Panthers. You guys let me know down below in the comments your favorite memory of Cam at Bank of America Stadium. Mine probably has to be just everything that entailed in the NFC Championship, just how things played out, the deep ball to Philly Brown, him doing a front flip somersault into the end zone after the quarterback run, just a complete annihilation of the team on the way to the Super Bowl. And it's been the highlight of my career as a Panthers fan. I mean, we haven't been that far in that fashion in a long time. We know going back in the prior years when we lost to the Patriots in the Super Bowl, we've been that far. But just the heights and the fun and the journey of having Cam Newton, which is a whole different experience. It brought a whole wave of fans to this fan base and just opened up Carolina on a national scale to give us that respect and notoriety at that point. We're a long way away from there, obviously, and we're kind of at the crossroads. So just the kind of time to reminisce on the good memories of Cam and just salute to the man on a great career if this is the end, because right now, I don't think he really has anything else left to prove except to himself. I think he's a Hall of Fame quarterback in my opinion. Right now, he'll just be building up stats to trying to climb up the all-time list as far as stats with rushing and passing. But there's really nothing else to prove. This Panthers team is not a Super Bowl contending team within the next 2-3 years, probably, in my opinion. So who knows what the future holds. But nevertheless, salute to Cam Newton. Salute to QB1. Appreciate you. Speaking of the quarterback position, at the past home game, the Carolina Panthers, they faced some boos. There was some boos when Sam Darnold was substituted into the game for Cam Newton and continue to run this platoon or two quarterback system, whatever you want to call it. If the fans don't like it. And the boos came initially when Sam came in, and the Panthers, some of the players and coach, obviously Matt Rhule, was asked about it. And he said fans have a right to be upset. He hates that it had to happen to Sam because Sam is battling through a lot of stuff. And Robby Anderson actually has similar sentiments. He said that the fans shouldn't boo. If you're a real fan, you should be with the team through thick and thin. Let's go ahead and listen to what Robby said.
At the end of the day, if you a fan, like a real fan, you're gonna love like your team, who you're a fan of, through their ups and their downs, regardless. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what it is. Like, that's just what it is. That's what a true fan is. You might be a little disappointed, but if you a true fan and you talk down on somebody that's like, you know what I'm saying? Like a true fan, you believe in your team to the fullest. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, one thing I didn't like, and it's just what it is, like, Sam came on the field and they booed him. Like, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's doing all he can and has done all he can. He obviously made mistakes, and we all do. But when he was doing good, 2 plays later, he'd make a big play. They cheering for him. Like, that's not real fans. You know what I'm saying? And for the culture that we build, and we don't want no fake fans. We want diehard, loyal fans that's going to ride or die for us. Simple as that.
So you hear Robby called out some of these people, and I really have no problem with what Robby says, but I'm also under the belief that you should let fans fan how they want to fan. Now, I understand there's a lot of influx of bandwagon fans that came in just because Cam Newton, the Cam stands. There's some controversy between the Cam stands and the Panthers fan base as a whole. I've seen people on Twitter talking about they're putting in ballots and changing over to new franchise and being fans of different teams because they just don't support Matt Rhule, which is kind of preposterous to me because as a Panthers fan, we've been pretty much spoiled. There's other franchises that are in the dumpster of abyss, and they continue to hire bad coaches, make bad decisions at quarterback. I don't think we've ever had terrible coaches. I mean, now Matt Rhule is a pretty bad coach, it seems like, in my opinion, but there's definitely been worse. We never saw an Adam Gase, guys like that. We never saw a Matt Patricia or guys like that. So you got to put things in perspective. For some people to be jumping ship like that, it's a little weird to me. Couldn't be me. Obviously, I got too much Panthers gear, as you can see, to ever change over to a different squad. But I think the difference between me and other people is I'm actually a fan of the game. You know, I do love the Panthers, and I love them because when we beat these rival teams like the Falcons and the Saints and the Bucs that I hate, I can talk my trash. When we're good, I can talk my trash and brag. I love watching this team. I love following this team. It's been a part of me since 1995, since the inception. But I also love football first before I love the Panthers. You know what I'm saying? I have a affinity for the game. That's why I make this YouTube channel, not just because of the Panthers, because I like sports, because I like NFL. So I'm not too attached to the Panthers to let them just ruin football for me, because this season has been crazy with different teams getting upset every week. The number 1 seeds are getting upset. The Texans are upsetting teams. The Jags, the Lions are upsetting teams. It's been craziness. This playoff is pretty much set to be one of the most crazy ones we've had in a long time, especially with that 17th game being added and the 7th team on the east side being added. This thing could shape up to be pretty interesting with a lot of teams still being in the playoff hunt as we speak. And I know this is going to be a good playoffs, one of the best times in the year. I'm not going to let the Panthers ruin it for me. So I understand why some fans are upset, but I also hear what Robby is saying, because the lows of going through stuff like this make the highs feel even better, because you know that you stayed down, you know what I'm saying, from day one, and you got to, we all on the get up to come down, you know what I'm saying, pick it. I don't know if you keep up with that, but we all on the get up to come down, you know what I'm saying, you stay down till you come up, you know what I'm saying, stay down with the team until we come up, you know what I'm saying, I get it. But, I mean, Robby, he's the same, for him to be defending Sam, saying that he didn't like the boos. A lot of people are questioning, like, weren't you the same one on the sideline cussing out Sam and yelling at him on camera? So it seems a little weird, but I think that's more of just testosterone between men, between teammates. Obviously, they're not like the football team and punching each other on the sidelines. And controversies and stuff like that happen. That doesn't mean he's not a Sam fan or doesn't support Sam, or he can't say anything about the boos. And I think a lot of the things is being lost on deaf ears is that we're not booing Sam Darnold in particular. We're booing Matt Rhule for the decision. I think with the fire Matt Rhule chance that broke out, I think it's pretty clear that most of the time the boos that are happening are because of the decision-making of Matt Rhule. I think we like most of the players on the team overall. At least I do. You know, there's some people that bother me as far as their talent, but I don't really just hate anybody on the team to the point that we just want to boo them You know what I'm saying? They're giving their all. They put their life on the line every time they go on the field. It's some of the decision making by the people upstairs and above that frustrates fans. So it's a messy conundrum, but I get it. People want to fan how they want to fan. Let them be. I'm just going to stay in my lane and do me. I didn't even mean to rhyme, but it happens sometimes. But what also happened that came out before the game is that Matt Rhule is expected to be retained, even though the huge collapse of going from 3-0 to possibly ending up 5-12, which looks like could be the case towards the end of the season if they continue to lose out. And a lot of fans have been picking up steam. Hashtag Rhule out has been trending on a day-to-day basis, trying to send a message that Matt Rhule is not the guy. There's been continuous suspect decisions being made by this coaching staff and regime, from the firing of Joe Brady, from the quarterback mishandling of getting Sam to Teddy and going back to Cam anyway, offensive line, lack of addressing that, which is an obvious need for years on end. And I agree. I mean, I think Matt Rhule has done enough to be fired. I mean, I'm not going to say that he hasn't gotten a fair shake, but I think that there's cause to say that he could possibly be fired. This bolt of confidence that he seems to have gotten from David Tepper says otherwise. But I get it. And I like to look at both sides. I like to put the emotion out like most people are, but look about it like this. 2020 was a COVID season. A lot of times first-year head coaches get extra practice time in the offseason to ingratiate their system, meet new players, get everything grounded up. It's because they're new. They need extra time. So we didn't get that because of COVID. They got Zoom meetings. Matt Rhule didn't meet a lot of these players until the fall when training camp started. So I get that there's going to be some grace from David Tepper because that first year was almost like a throwaway. They had Teddy. They did what they wanted to do, blah, blah, blah. Throw it away. I mean, they competed in a lot of games, whatever. But I think a lot of fans are upset about it because the following year, it seems like we took a step back with the complete offseason. We thought that with the complete offseason, more strides would be made. Yes, the defense improved immensely, but the lack of addressing the offensive line, the shakiness of the quarterback after making a decision to get rid of Teddy just 1 year into his third-year deal, it seems very weird. And it seems like these guys are just making up stuff as they go. The lack of in-game adjustments in the second half, the lack of game management and clock management when it comes to timeouts and just calling challenges and everything just seems to reek of incompetency. And I understand what the players are upset about because there's not just one thing about circumstances being bad. A lot of the problems that this team has been directly caused by Matt Rhule. You can't say that you can't properly evaluate Matt Rhule because the quarterback hasn't been good when he's the one that's made every decision about the quarterback. So you can't have it both ways. You can't say that the process is working, but you make win now moves by trading for Gilmore or CJ Henderson and stuff like that. It doesn't make sense. You know, so you can't have it both ways. You can't fall back on the process, say the process is working, even though you may not see it. But also try to act like you're in win now mode and things have happened. You can't say, oh, Rome wasn't built in a day, but you were busy trying to build it in a day just a couple weeks ago, making moves and trades to try to capitalize on the early season momentum that we did have. So we're in a weird spot right now. A lot of fans are upset. I get it on the fans' perspective. I'm a little bothered by that because I don't see this regime being able to get this thing right. But I can understand why Tepper would want to make a rash decision when he did the dirt. The mistake was made up front by giving him a 7-year contract. You know what I'm saying? The mistake isn't made keeping him because the mistake having to keep him is a direct result of your initial mistake of giving him 7 years. If he didn't have a 7-year deal, I guarantee you Matt Rhule would probably be done after this year. I guarantee it. If it was 5 years, for sure. 4 years, definitely. But the fact that it's 7, David Tepper probably did that for himself because he knows he makes some rash decisions and he wanted to give himself a chance to commit to that because we know that David Tepper was on record of one of the guys that wanted, Mike Tomlin fired back with the Steelers, even though Mike Tomlin had yet to have a losing season. People are questioning David Tepper's decision-making when it comes to coaches, and I get it as a whole, but I put most of the blame up top on David Tepper and the mistake he made up front by giving Matt Rhule all that money. But nevertheless, it looks like Matt Rhule will be retained, and we got to kind of just roll with the punches at this point, guys. Last but certainly not least, there has been a COVID outbreak amongst the Carolina Panthers. We saw that Brandon Zylstra was ineligible to play because of COVID on game day this past Sunday, but lo and behold, Monday, when they reported to the team facilities, it had been announced that 6 players had been added, including starters Shaq, Thompson, and Brian Burns, but also rotational player Marquise Haynes, Phil Hoskins, and of course, injured reserve players Matt Paradis and Bravion Nixon. So we've already had enough going on with the depth, with the defensive line and the secondary. But for this stuff to happen, it just seems like the white towel needs to be waved, and we just got to let this season go and make sure everybody stays safe, because it's not going to get any better. COVID is starting to crank up even more. We're almost at the finish line, but it seems like we're limping across the finish line. I mean, the Saints that will be playing this week, they're devastated by COVID also, and you saw them lay an egg on Monday Night Football. However, we may not even possibly be in a position to take advantage with our strength of our team, which seems to be our defense. They'll be man down with our Pro Bowl player Brian Burns and our leader of our defense Shaq Thompson not being on the field. So this will be something to pay attention to. Shout out to Rashad for Panthers Nation podcast. He noticed that these guys got together for a birthday party one weekend, and he hinted to us in the group chat saying that a COVID outbreak could happen because things like this have popped up in guys that are close contacts that happen. We also saw Brian Burns' brother, the hype man Lucci. He tested positive for COVID. So it made sense that Brian Burns would test positive also, because it's starting to hit too close to home. But nevertheless, first of all, you pray for these guys' health. I'm assuming most of these guys are vaccinated, but you pray these guys stay healthy. Hope they get speedy recovery first and foremost. But you also want to hope they get on the field as fast as possible and are eligible to play come Sunday against the Saints, because we have an opportunity to sweep the Saints. I don't care about the draft. Anytime you have a chance to sweep guys that brought a broom to your locker room and we're dancing around, especially the head coach that looks like Sean Payton, who has the most punchable face in football, you take advantage of that. I don't give a damn about the draft. I don't give a damn about losing draft position if we beat the Saints and sweep them for the season. It'll make me feel better at night about that, and I have the bragging rights to go back to all these Saints fans that I love to hate, and they love to hate us. So we got to get this sweep done. Hopefully COVID won't hold us back from getting this victory against the Saints, and we make something happen. But it is what it is. But you guys let me know down below in the comments, what do you think about this COVID outbreak? Do you think it could get worse on this team? What do you think? Like, do you think it's just it doesn't move the needle for you because you pretty much checked out already? Let me know down below in the comments. But you guys make sure you are subscribed, hit the bell icon. That way you don't miss anything. I'm Aaron Ducker here with the Necessary Blunt Sports Talk. I'll see you next time. Peace.